皆さんこんにちは、ゆかりです。今日は日本がすごく大好きなスチューさんと一緒に、外国人から見た日本の魅力、どういったところが日本がすごくスペシャルで、どうして日本が好きなのかっていうのをいろいろ聞いていきたいと思います。So, Stu saying you like Japan, right?
Yes.
So, when and why you got interested in Japan?
My interest in Japan started when I was at university. So, a friend of mine said that a friend of his was going to a martial arts class that evening. And did I want to go with him to try it out? So, we went to this jiu-jitsu class.That night. Jiu-jitsu class, yeah. After that, I said to him, I think that I really like that martial art. I think that I would probably get a black belt in it. After my first day, I decided I'm doing this.
Okay, so I'm sure many people have no idea about jiu-jitsu because when I heard jiu-jitsu from you, I said just, what is it? I have no idea. So, what is jiu-jitsu?Jiu-jitsu
is basically samurai martial arts, but without a sword. So sword is kenjutsu, and without sword, so just hand, is jujutsu. It includes like throwing and arm locking and striking and fighting and lots of things. And I really, really liked this martial art. I really thought it was cool. And there was a big part of our martial art that concentrated on your attitude and your mindset. And so I started to get interested in this Japanese mindset that sort of, you see in some martial arts, but it comes from this idea of Bushido, which is like samurai thinking, samurai code, samurai way of being alive.What
is samurai thinking?
So in the classes, we concentrated a bit on etiquette. So like how to stand properly.
Samurai etiquette.
Samurai etiquette. Well,
Japanese etiquette.
Japanese etiquette. So like how to start the class and to read before and after training and like how to sit properly and how to pay attention, how to stand and listen and those kind of things. And why are you supposed to do that? And I was interested in that, and I mean the answer of why you're supposed to do that is because, well, we want to be like the old samurai, you know, try and do things in a similar way. And so that involved Bushido. And I was really fascinated by this. So I started reading books about samurai, and I started watching movies. And
what movie did you watch? What was your favorite?
A couple Akira Kurosawa films. So Seven Samurai, and Ran, and Twilight Samurai, and a few other things. And of course, about that time, the Tom Cruise movie, The Last Samurai, came out, and I was like, that's one of my favorite movies. Like, so at that time, I was very interested in these kinds of things. And obviously through movies and things like that, like the Western view of samurai is very romantic. Because the samurai is like a bit of a hero.
Samurai is a hero?
Yeah, well, the Western opinion of what is a samurai is that it's a bit of a hero kind of person who goes around the countryside and sleeps on the streets, but like saves people and fights. And, you know, so it's pretty cool. For a young man, it's like, wow, that's cool. You know, it's fun.
You went to Japan, right? How long did you stay in Japan?
I was there for 2 months.
2 months?
Yeah, 2 months. I visited from the beginning of October until the end of November.
So where did you go? Or what did you do?
I spent maybe, I can't remember, maybe a week, 4 or 5 days in Tokyo. And then I went to Sendai. And then I started working my way north, up towards Hokkaido. So I went to Sendai, and then I spent some time in a ryokan in Aomori, and then I went further up north towards Hakodate and Sapporo and into Hokkaido, and traveled around a little bit.
Oh wow.
And went hiking in Hokkaido. And so I was catching all of the autumn colors and the plants and stuff in the mountains. It was so beautiful. And then I came back down the other side and went to Nagano and then further down, and then I did Osaka and Kobe and Kyoto, and then went to Hiroshima. And then after that I went back to Tokyo to see some friends, meet some friends there, and yeah, and then so that was the trip. Went around.
So what did you do mainly, like during the trip?
So one of the things that was really quite special for me was going to an onsen. So this is the first time I'd ever gone to an onsen, and I went to Ajigokudan. It's a monkey park near Nagano. So I had to take like a train and then a bus and then like go walking through a forest for half an hour to get to this place. So it's really deep in the countryside, and it feels like a little bit of a secret place, even though it's popular on the internet. So I'm sure lots of people know about it. But so I went there, and so this is the first time I was going to an onsen, and it's funny because the lady who's running this onsen she's laughing at me.
What?
Because I've never gone to an onsen before, so I didn't know what I was doing, and so I sort of said to her, how do I take a bath? And she laughed at me. She said, oh, and she said, oh. And she's like, oh, just go in the water, take off your clothes, go in the water, and then when you're ready, get out. So it's quite funny because public baths in the Western world, you wear swim trunks.
Yeah. You don't show your naked body in front of people. Right?
Public nudity is not really a thing that we do, but in Japan it's normal.
Not normal, but yeah, in a public bath, yes.
At the onsen,
yeah,
it's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you feel in the onsen, like with naked?
Oh yeah. So first time I was like quite nervous, looking around. Like, are people looking at me?
Did you feel people watch you?
Not really. No.
Oh,
but
really?
There were not a lot of people there.
Ah, okay.
But it was a wonderful place, a really, really cool place, and just the idea of onsen is so nice and relaxing. You know, going to the bath and then going back to, I had a traditional room and sleeping on a futon.
Yeah.
And you know, like having a nap and reading books and just sort of really
super relaxing.
It's wonderful. And I had a very nice experience. It was one of these moments that made me really sort of appreciate Japan. It was special for me, but it was sort of the middle of the night, and you could go out to the onsen in the middle of the night. And so I went out there at maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was sitting down in this pool by myself, completely alone. And so it's the middle of the night, and there's no clouds in the sky, just the moon, which is lighting up the mountains and everything around. And I seen a boar.
Wow.
Like, trotting through the mountains nearby. So like not so close to me, but close enough that I could see and, you know, hear snorting around and like looking for food or something, I don't know. And I remember just there, like in this bath in the middle of the night, you know, watching this scene of nature in the middle of the mountains. And, you know, for me that was like a movie moment. Like it was like really, it's quite special. I felt so lucky and so happy to be in that place at that time. And so yeah, and that's another little bit of a thing that made me fall in love with Japan a little bit, you know. Yeah, at that moment. So.
And how did you feel about Japan? So you had a lot of image of Japan, right?
Yeah, so I knew that Japan wasn't like samurai.
Samurai, no samurai anymore.
Yeah, like I knew it wasn't like that, right? I'm not that stupid. But But I did know that it was different from everything else, and I was still very interested in like the Japanese way of doing things, which to me was from the martial arts, like being calm and being patient. Martial arts etiquette is like that, like take your time, like pay attention, do things properly. So I was sort of thinking, okay, well maybe this feeling was what I would see in Japan. And this was where I like, in my trip, I really discovered that was true for me. That obviously, no, there's not samurai walking around in Japan on the streets of Kyoto. But I did find that people were patient, and people are quite calm in Japan, and people were quite helpful to me, and people smiled a lot, and everything felt very calm, is the way I describe it. Like, you can taste it. Like when you get off the plane and you walk into the airport, you can see that most people are quite, like, there's not a lot of anxiety. There's not a lot of tension or stress in the air.
Or we don't try to show those kind of emotions.
Yeah. Japanese people are very good at hiding stress.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so
we shouldn't show those kind of feelings.
Right.
In a business situation especially.
Right,
Yeah.
or a public place like that, a really public place. Yeah, so, but in the Western world, people show their stress all the time.
All the time, yeah.
It's so common to see people arguing on the streets, or people yelling at each other, or, you know, somebody who's upset or something. It's very common. But that just didn't happen in Japan.
No.
Or very rarely, you know? Or when somebody's drunk maybe, but,
Yeah.
you know, like, most of the time, everyone's just very, no problem, peaceful, right? Almost anywhere you go in Japan, you get the same basic sense of, like, that people are doing things in a slow and controlled, peaceful manner. The way that I kind of describe it to people is that, like, most people are trying really hard to do a good job at doing whatever it is they are doing. So it's like, if, like, the train conductor guy, right? So we're going up, you know, going through the mountains and stopping at train stations out in the countryside, and, you know, I'm sitting nearby, I'm watching him do his thing, watching him get the train ready, and it's every single time, boom, boom, and here we go. And then same again, next stop, exactly the same process. Here we go. And he's just very controlled and taking his time, and doesn't seem to be upset, doesn't seem to be stressed out about what he's doing. Like, he's just doing his job and doing it in a peaceful way and making sure it's done well. So even the guy who's putting your beer in a bag at the convenience store, puts it in properly, lines everything up correctly, lifts it up and gives it to you. Like, that doesn't happen here. It doesn't happen here. And that's like, it's, I know that might be surprising, but like, it doesn't happen.
No.
So here they're just like, dunk, 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 dunk.
Bang, 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 bang.
Done. Next customer, you know? And
No smile at all.
no smile. No time for smiles. No time for politeness. Like, go, 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 go. It's not an accident, right? Like it means that over many, many years, over a very long time, the culture of Japan promotes this kind of thinking, this way of thinking. You know, that you should take your time, that you should concentrate, that you should work hard, that you should be polite. And that I found, like, that kind of idea is like, it's in many, many things. So you see it in, like, Japanese design of, like, bathtubs and cars and buildings, and organized the way that things are. You know, like the trains, a lot of the time, you see the chairs, the way that they swivel around, or the
yeah.
like stuff like that. It's just like, this makes so much sense because somebody did their job right, because somebody thought about it, because they took their time and they didn't rush through and say, okay, that's good enough, next problem. You know, it's just calm down and let's figure this out, do it properly. That's very different to what I see a lot in the West, which is like go faster, get it done quickly.
Like maybe Japanese people think about other people's feelings. What is more comfortable?
Yeah, for
other people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean that's a huge thing for me. Like on the train, and people are generally quiet. Not completely silent, you know, but like generally quiet.
Talk quietly.
Or somebody's on the phone. They're
we shouldn't talk. Do you know?
Yeah.
We shouldn't talk on the phone.
But some people do.
Yeah, but
Not supposed to. Yeah, I know. But here it doesn't
bad
matter.
manner. No.
I hear people are blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't think it's okay. I think many places in the West, like people are very competitive, and so they're hurrying through things. There's a very busy mind. So it's like people are working hard and like I've got to go here and do this and then this and then this, and our mindset becomes like go. You know, like how to win quickly, and that's quite stressful. It's quite like you can kind of feel it here that like people are kind of stressed.
Quite busy. Like
well, people walking down the street, they're quite busy.
That's why people speak quite fast. Like
yeah, they speak quickly. It's like gotta get this conversation finished, and the next thing, and it's funny, but you know the feeling that I had is that like there's more people on the streets of Tokyo, but it feels quiet. It doesn't feel as busy. It's way busier. You can see like way more people moving, lots of people doing everything, lots of cars, lots of stuff going on, but everybody's like, whew. That for me is really appealing because I'm a little bit anxious person. Going to Japan and feeling that everybody is a bit calmer, a bit quieter. It's lovely. It really is lovely to be there.
Did you meet some Japanese people?
Yeah.
Did you make some friends there?
Yeah, quite a lot actually. And this is another reason that you know I had such a lovely time while I was there. And another one of the reasons that I think Japan is a charming, lovely place because almost everywhere I went, people were very, very kind to me, and people wanted to talk to me. And you know, I mean, I'd be at a bar any night in any city, and usually somebody would talk to me.
But how did you feel like a stranger talked to you?
Yeah, complete stranger.
Right? And then you're alone, and
Yeah.
somebody talked to you.
Yeah.
But how did you feel?
It's quite normal for people to talk to strangers in Western countries in bars, right? Like it happens quite a lot.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, obviously I'm out by myself, and I think that people probably saw that I was by myself, and so they probably were more likely to talk to me because, well, this guy's by himself at the bar. Like I'm just going to say, hey, so are you visiting Japan? So I mean, it gives them a chance to practice their English.
Yeah.
And I knew that. Of course, they want to practice their English, right? Like with me, so and I'm happy.
So you don't mind?
No, not at all. I don't care.
Okay.
Not at all. Like, I think that if I was living and working in Japan and people were always stopping me and wanting to practice
Hello.
their English, you know, I would be, okay, here we go again. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, I was there as a tourist, complete tourist, and just enjoying my time. And so people would be quite kind to me, you know, like showing me places to go, talking about, like asking me about what I thought about Japan. And, you know, I really felt welcomed to Japan.
Oh, okay.
I really felt that like the Japanese people there, like they wanted me to have a good opinion of their country.
Yeah, of course, yes.
And they wanted me to have a good time. And they wanted to try and help me. And so, you know, there are a few people that, you know, now I have on my Facebook or whatever who really helped me out. I mean, you know, like showed me a good time. Oh, let's go here. Let's go out for dinner, and we'll meet here. And, yeah. So it's just nice, you know, to be welcomed in that way. And I think that hospitality is a thing in Japan. You know, is an attitude. You know.
In my case, I feel like a bit nervous. Should I talk to? Is it okay to talk to like foreigners or no? It's hard to like. Really talk to
I think
them.
I think that it probably depends on the person.
Yeah.
The person, and I mean the person you want to talk to, because like I'm very open and
Yeah.
oh, okay, hello, yeah, how's it going? But some people might be like super scared. like,
wow, really?
Yeah. But I think it's fine. Talk to them.
Because maybe many people like watching this video, I'm sure people want to learn English or practice English more and want to have some foreign friends.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you gotta talk to them to start.
Okay,
I think so.
let's start to talk.
Yeah.
I think these days many foreigners visit Japan. I think Japan is really, really popular, like touristy country.
Yeah, definitely.
Why do you think it's super popular?
Okay. I was talking before about the general energy and the feeling that Japan has, which is that everything is just a little bit more calm. And that everything is just a little bit better thought out. Everything is planned very well. And so I think that information now about Japan has kind of got out to people. That they realize that there's this place across the other side of the world that's very well planned out and very calm and like everybody's very polite. Now, over the last few years, the Western world has gone a little bit crazy. I'm sure it's always been crazy, but like it feels lately like there's a lot of drama, like political drama and like, you know, all these news reports about bad things happening and, you know, violent things that are happening. And I think people, there is a desire, a need for peace in people. And I think people see Japan as a location that kind of is a peaceful place to go. You know, it feels like a peaceful place to go. And you think about it, like if you think about really touristy Japanese stuff, you know, like going to a sushi restaurant or going to like a tea ceremony or going to shrines and temples. And I went to so many shrines and temples when I was in Japan, and they're very peaceful things to do. You know, one of my other favorite memories from my trip in Japan is there's a little park, and so there's a little tea hut in the middle of this park, and you can go and get matcha tea. The first time I went, there was no one there, and so I took this really quiet, peaceful walk through this park, and then sat down and had this beautiful tea, you know, and it's in the autumn. Oh, it's lovely, you know, and it's super peaceful, and I felt that, and I think people want that. And so Japan has this, you know, reputation for being a peaceful, calm place, and I think people need that in their lives these days, is they want something peaceful. And, you know, Japan's a developed country and things work very well there, so it's a great place to go. Yeah. On top of that, I mean, it's a peaceful place, but also it's very different from the West. So I think about the differences between places like Vancouver and places like Japan, but
So different. Everything is different.
everything is different, right? The way the buildings are made, the cars and the streets, the way the sidewalks work, how you sit down at restaurants,
How different cars?
so that the cars, it's very funny to me, but cars in North America are huge, like trucks, like really big, the size of this room, you know? But cars in Japan are tiny. They're these little boxes and these little like little trucks where like two people can barely fit inside the thing.
For tiny Japanese people.
And they look different. There's a different style. You know, like you know, American cars are all like super fast, like oh yeah, so cool, right?
Tiny.
Just,
Yeah.
so that's different, you know, and I think about like the toilets are different. Washlet, yeah, that's crazy for American
A lot of
people.
buttons.
A lot
Wash your
of
bum.
buttons, like, and you have no idea what they say because it's
Wash and dry for you.
all kanji, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's an experience.
Automatic open.
Yeah.
Lid.
And like taxis, like you get out of the taxi, the door closes by itself.
Yeah.
Like all of these little things that are, you know, that are the result of the Japanese way of thinking, the Japanese way of life. Like, let's make this better. Let's make the best toilet we possibly can. What's the best taxi experience you can possibly get? Like, you know, and people trying their best to do what is, you know, going to be the absolute best way of doing it. You know, and so there's so many things in Japan that are like that. And that's real. So the end result is that almost everything about the country is different from home. And of course, I mean, the language is different, but that's the only part of it. It's everything. So
like people can have super different experience.
Yeah, they feel like they're going to another world, like another universe. That's how different it feels for an American person. For a Western person to go to Japan, it really does feel like you're in a different universe. And that's wonderful. You know, that's a lovely experience that people want to have. Is like, I want to go to like another world. And that, I think, is, I mean, that's what I think is the charm of Japan. It might seem weird that Japan seems like a charming place to foreigners, but it is. It's a lovely place. It's a special place. I hope you know that, and be proud of your country. It's cool.
そう、今回は、ステューさんに、外国人から見た日本の魅力っていうのを話してもらいました。日本人には当たり前すぎて、もう普通のことすぎて、そういうところって気づけないことなんですけど、やっぱりなんかこういう風に言ってもらったら、あ、なんか日本人でよかったなとか、日本人であることを誇りに思って生きていきたいなっていう風に私は感じました。皆さんはね、今回のこのステューさんの話を聞いてどんなことを思ったでしょうか。もしよかったら下のコメント欄に皆さんの意見書いてみてください。ということで今回は外国人から見た日本の魅力について、お話をさせていただきました。もし今回のビデオ楽しんでもらえたらいいねとチャンネル登録、そしてお友達にもよかったらシェアしてみてください。ということでまた次回お会いしましょう。バイバーイ。